Everyone. Good morning, guys. We have enabled passcode on the meeting, guys, and we did send out an email to all the participants. There were around 14 participants who have enrolled in a course, 14 or 13. Let's give them a couple of minutes, guys. People might be looking for a passcode at the last minute. Only for today, we'll wait for 1 or 2 more minutes. Couple of members are pinging for passcode at the last minute, guys. Just give me 1 more minute. They might not have probably checked the email. We have sent an email with a passcode yesterday. Yeah, a couple of more members have to dial in, guys, but that's okay. We'll get started with it, guys. We have 8 members. I'll go ahead and share my screen. You can see the participants are coming in. Now we go back to the security topic, guys. So what is it that we have done yesterday, guys? I'll just open the PPT, a relevant slide. I'll just quickly summarize what we covered in yesterday's session. So we covered a data access part in yesterday's session, guys. So we created a user. To that user, we added an employee and a HR specialist job role, guys. And after we have given a HR specialist and an employee job role, when we try to go into new person screen or a person management screen, unfortunately, we were not able to see any data there, guys. And how did we fix that issue? We created a data role. And when we created a data role, initially we used view all security profiles. Okay. We created view all security profiles, assigned view all security profiles to the data role, and we assigned the data role to the user. And then a user started seeing all the legal entities and all the employees from all the legal entities again. So to restrict the data access, since HR would have joined in a specific region, maybe in yesterday's case, we've created a user for Kalyani. So if she has joined as a HR of Emerson in US, she should ideally be able to see only the companies that Emerson had in US, not in other countries. So we have restricted the data access of her to be able to see only US companies How did we achieve it? We created a custom org and person security profiles, and that has restricted a data access, guys. And these are all the steps that we have performed in yesterday's session. Now, what you need to understand is in today's session, you need to understand the security framework first. You need to understand the security framework. So what I do was, let me log into a Fusion Cloud application, guys. I'll get into EXGS instance. Second instance is what we were using, guys, EXGS instance. And I'm trying to get into that particular Fusion Cloud instance here. Now within the application, I'm going to log into it as HCM implementation user. I'm going to sign out of it. I'll create it as HCM I'll be logging in as HCM implementation user. Use this password, get into it. And we go to security console. Go to tools, security console. And when we click on users, what do we get to see, guys? We would be able to see when you click on users, I can search for the user that we created yesterday. Now, the point is, guys, when we created this user, to this user, we have assigned employee and a HR specialist role. And when we assign HR specialist role, when we assign employee role to the user, let me also log into the application as that user here, guys. I'll log into the Fusion Cloud application as this user that I've created. As this user, I'm trying to do it from another screen. From another browser, I'm trying to log into the same instance as a new user that I've created, Kalyani. And when we created this user, guys, to this particular user, when I assigned only employee role, she was able to see me, procurement, and tools and others, guys. And after that, I added a HR specialist job role. And the moment I added a HR specialist job role, then she started seeing my client groups and benefits administration. So she started seeing these two additional groups. And within my client groups, again, within my client groups, what is it that we see, guys? Within my client groups, what information do we see? We see that there are pages to hire a new employee. There are pages to update an employee and so on. Okay. But the point is, see, if you are probably an end user, guys, that's okay. To the user, you assign a role. And if you just know that these two additional groups started showing up on the user profile when you add a job role, that would be enough. But we are an implementation consultant, right? So we need to know very clearly, we need to know how exactly adding a job role to the user is enabling these two additional options on the user profile. Okay, so hope you guys were able to understand the point that I'm explaining here. So when I assign a job role, HR specialist job role to the user, how exactly user gets to see these two additional options, additional groups and the pages within them. How is this working in the background is what you need to understand. To understand that, what you need to figure out is, you see this is a job role that you assign to the user. So what you understand is, or what you need to know is, to a job role in a Fusion application, there will be a lot of duty roles assigned. So whenever, say, for example, if you hire a person as a HR specialist, if you hire an employee as a HR specialist, what are the things if you hire an employee as a HR specialist? Yes, a HR specialist will have to perform a lot of duties, right? A HR specialist will have to perform a lot of duties. And what are the few duties that come to your mind, guys, that a HR specialist should do? They should be hiring employees. They should be managing employees, meaning updating employees or terminating them and so on. And not just these two duties, guys. HR specialist, as part of her job, should perform a lot of duties, guys. Not just hiring an employee and not just updating an employee. They should be performing, they should be performing lot of duties, guys. They should be performing lot of duties. So to a job role in Fusion Cloud, there will be lot of duty roles assigned. So whatever duties that a job involves, all those duty roles would have been created by Oracle. And how do you know the duty role, guys? How can you identify duty roles? In the role code, at the end, you have underscore duty. So here you have underscore job, right? Similarly, in case of duty role, you have underscore duty at the end. So if you look at the job definition of if you look at the definition of a job role, you see that there are a lot of duty roles inherited by that job role. Whatever duties HR should perform, all those duty roles are assigned here. And for a HR to perform those duties, if she has to hire employees, she has to she should be able to see a hire an employee page, rehire employee page, and so on. And if she has to perform person management activity, like if she has to update an employee, then she should be able to see that person management screen as well. So to the duty roles, to perform those duties, HR should be able to see those screens in the application. HR should be able to see those screens in the application. To manage persons, she should see this page. And to hire employees, she should be seeing this page, right? So to perform those duties, whatever are the pages that are required for a HR to see in the application, those pages are created as privileges in the background, guys. So you see these privileges like hire an employee, person management, and so on. So these are the privileges, and privileges are what is going to show up as pages within the application. So all those privileges are assigned to the duty roles, and those duty roles are assigned to a job role. So this is a basic security framework in Fusion Cloud, guys. So you have thousands of privileges grouped together and assigned to duty roles. And you have plenty of duty roles again grouped into a job role, assigned to a job role. Now you might say, Prasad, all the story is fine, but can you please show this in the application for me? Well, I can certainly do it, guys. I will go into Fusion application. And what I do is I'll go to roles tab here. And what do you see in the roles tab, guys? In the roles tab, I can search for this particular role, HR specialist. Now, when I search for HR specialist role here, human resource specialist. Now, when you search for a human resource specialist, I'm picking up a role that starts with Aura underscore. That starts with Aura underscore. So you see a role name, you see a role name, you see a role code and a description. And if you scroll to the right, what do we see, guys? So this is a job role, and this job role, to this job role, what do we see, guys? You see that there are a lot of duty roles assigned to this job role. So what are all the duties that a HR should perform? You will be able to see all those duty roles assigned here. So as a HR specialist might enter work terms, they might have to correct the termination, they might have to configure a person. And if you scroll down, they would have to hire an employee. They would have to change the person name. They would have to change a worker manager. They would have to add a payment method on the employee. So to keep it simple, guys, HR specialist, it's not one or two activities that they should be able to perform. There are hundreds of duties that they can perform. Not that they do all of them on every single day, every day, but yes, what are all the actions that a HR should be able to perform as part of his job? What are all the duties that a HR should perform? All those duty roles are assigned to the job role here. Okay, so when I search for a job role, I see all those duty roles assigned. Now, what are the duty roles that you will see? Employee hire, person management. So you will hiring an employee is one of the key duty that he has to perform. So you see the duty role. And when you look at the duty roles here, guys, you might see a couple of additional roles with underscore OBI, underscore CRM at the end. Guys, just ignore these two. You should be focusing on this particular role. And you should also be able to, HR should also be able to manage the persons. These are the two basic activities that he should be doing, guys. Hiring employees, updating employees, but there are a lot of other things that he should be doing as well. So all these duty roles are assigned to a job role. Now, after that, to perform that particular duty, whether it is to manage a person or whether it is to hire an employee, they should be able to see these screens in the application, right? They should be able to see person management or a new person screen in the application. And that is where if you look at the duty role, so I looked at a job role, I can see all the duty roles assigned to them. And when I look at a duty role, what do I get to see, guys? You can see a description, you can see the name, code, and a description, guys. And when you look at the duty role, you should expand this particular section to see what are all the privileges that that particular duty role has. What are all the privileges that that particular duty role has? See, when you look at the job definition, you need to see what are the duty roles inherited by a job role. But when you are looking at a duty role, you should see what are the privileges inherited by that particular role, right? So what is it that we need to do here, guys? We're able to see that there are a lot of privileges here, assigned to a duty role. Okay, there are a lot of privileges assigned to a duty role. Lot of privileges assigned to a duty role. And for this particular duty role, there are a couple of them: manage person and search person. And that is precisely why this particular manage person option. So this page is showing up under my client groups to the employee, because to the HR specialist job role, this duty role is assigned. And in this duty role, you have this privilege, and that privilege is showing up as a page here. Okay, so that is a security framework, guys. A job role involves multiple duties. Candidate is expected to perform, or a job involves multiple duties. All the duties that a HR should perform as part of a job, all those duty roles are assigned to the user or assigned to the job role. And to perform these duties, he should get access to the pages, and those are nothing but the privileges. Well, the best part is, guys, in a Fusion application, Oracle has already created thousands of privileges, and those are assigned to duty roles, and those duty roles are assigned to job roles. All the default setups are done by Oracle already, guys, and plenty of job roles are already assigned or defined by Oracle and already assigned to the job role. Okay, so you will be able to see all of that. And it's just that if required, we might have to customize the seeded roles given by Oracle. Okay, since if required, we might have to customize the seeded roles given by Oracle. Now, is everybody able to follow now, guys? Like how exactly that magic happened in the background when I assigned a job role to the user? How exactly Kalyani started seeing these two additional groups and pages within them? Is this clear to everyone, guys? It is because of this particular framework, guys. It is because of this framework. Job role has duty roles has privileges, and those privileges will be showing up in the application as additional pages. Now let's try to understand how to customize the roles, guys. So sometimes what happens is a client might ask you to customize the roles, guys. So let's see how that works. So the first thing that I want to do was I would go back to Security Console. And let me try to create another user, guys. Let me try to create another user. And let me see if there is an employee with a name as Prasad in the application. Okay, you see that there's one user with a name as Prasad, but that's okay. And let me see if you have anything with, otherwise I'll create it as Prasad. Okay. And I'm going to enter a password. And to this particular user, what I would do was, and I'll also assign the email ID. And to this particular user, I will assign only the employee role. To this particular user, I will assign only the employee role. Now, when I assign an employee role, it's basically an abstract role that I'm assigning to the user. The moment I assign an employee role to the user, let's see what happens. I'm going to sign out of this application as Kalyani, and I'll sign in as Prasad. Now to Prasad, we have assigned only an employee role. Now, when that user signs in, when Prasad dials into the application, what does he get to see, guys? He would obviously see only the basic screens. He would obviously be able to see the basic screens that every employee should be able to see in the application. Now, when you assume that you're doing an implementation project for Emerson and you assign this employee role to the user, and you have shown this to the client. You're sitting with Emerson over the contact point of Emerson, and you have shown them that, boss, when we assign a standard employee role to the user, these are all the pages. These are all the pages. First of all, these are the groups that user gets to see. And within those groups, these are the pages that they get to see. These are the pages that they get to see. That's a confirmation that's what we basically show to the client, to Emerson. Then immediately Emerson might say, so Prasad, most of these pages are okay. We want our employees to see the personal information tab, to see the connections. This is where you can search for other employees or other users. And we want our employees to be able to see their pay slips. We want them to be able to submit a timesheet. All these things look fine, sir. We need them. But some pages that I see here, like volunteering, web clock, so these are the pages that we don't really need for our employees. And we don't want our employees to see them as well, because it would lead to confusion. If they see volunteering, they might assume that they can do some volunteering work, which we actually don't have, right? So what is Emerson saying, guys? So when you assign an employee role to the user, okay, let me do it this way. If I open the security notes, so when I assign the employee role to the user, what's happening, guys, in the application? The moment I assign an employee role to the user, it is giving them access to, let's say, where do we have this? Yeah, we have that here. So when you assign employee role to the user, let's say it is giving access of 100 pages to the application. It is giving access of 100 pages to the user. So I assign employee role, assume that it is giving them access to 4 groups. And in those 4 groups, let's say there are 100 pages in total. Or let's say there are 30 pages in total, okay, or 50 pages. And out of those 50 pages, let's say your client wants to see only those only 45 pages. Okay, so these icons that we see, guys, these are nothing but the pages in the application, guys. So when I assign a standard employee role to the user, it is giving a user access to 50 screens or 50 pages across four groups, but your client says, Prasad, we want our employees to see only 45 pages. We don't want our employees to see volunteering or web clock or purchase requisitions. Now, how do we customize the roles, guys? Is there a chance that a client would ask you to take out a few pages, guys? Every client would come up with such requirements, guys, for sure. Now, how do I customize this employee role? Because if I assign a standard employee role to the user, guys, if I assign a standard employee role to the user, obviously he is seeing all these pages, even the pages that they don't need. Now, how do we fix this? How do we customize this? To achieve this requirement, there are 3 approaches that we can follow, guys. What are the 3 approaches that you could follow? What is the first approach that comes to your mind, guys? I'm saying that when I assign a standard role to the user, it is giving access to 50 pages, but your client needs only 45 pages. The first thing that might come to your mind is, Kalyani might say, hey, Prasad, it's very simple. Let's go to that standard role. Let's edit it. And let's take out those 5 pages. Let's take out those 5 pages from the standard role. Can we do that, guys? I'm going into the instance again. I'm opening up a Fusion Cloud instance in a new tab. And I go to Security Console. Go to Tools, Security Console. And what is it that we want to do here, guys? We will search for the users here. Roles. And what do? I search for this particular standard role here. And the first thing that comes to your mind is, Prasad, let's go ahead and edit the seeded role itself. edit the seeded role itself. So if I try to do it, I've searched for that role here, and I click on the menu option, and I see that there's an option to edit it. And I'm clicking on it. What's the warning that you see here, guys? What does it say? Can someone read that warning, please? Don't modify. Why am I seeing a pin drop silence, guys, today? I'm not really sure. I'm wondering, can you guys hear me clearly, or are you guys following me?
Yes, sir, you're following me.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we see that when we try to edit a seeded role, what's the warning it is throwing, guys? It says, sorry, Prasad, don't modify a predefined role, meaning don't modify the seeded role given by Oracle. Instead, what it says is make a copy of the predefined role and edit that copy. Make a copy of the predefined role and edit that copy. If you don't follow these instructions, and if you still go ahead and make the changes, if you don't follow the instructions and if you still go ahead and make the changes, it is highly not recommended, guys. It is highly not recommended to edit the seeded roles. Because if you edit the seeded roles, what would happen, guys? You might edit the seeded role and you might take out 5 pages today, and that might satisfy the requirement. A user would see only 45 pages after you take out those 5 privileges that user doesn't need. But the point is, we are in January, right? So when will a Fusion Cloud application be upgraded again, guys? How frequently Fusion Cloud is upgraded, first of all?
Every quarter.
Every quarter, right? So when exactly would it get upgraded again? It is upgraded in January, right? 26A is the version number. And in April, we'll get another version. And what is that version called as?
26B.
26B. And when Oracle upgrades a Fusion application, it will put the standard employee role back into the instance. So which means if you edit the seeded role and take out those 5 pages, you might assume that you have fixed the issue, and Emerson also would test it and say that, okay, Prasad, our employees are seeing 45 pages, it's okay. But in first week of April, they would send out an email and ask you, hey, Prasad, what's going on? My employees started seeing those 5 additional pages there. What could have happened? Oracle has put that standard role back into the instance, guys. So please note, guys, you should never ever edit the seeded roles, because if you edit them, there's no guarantee that those edited roles will remain as is. It is not upgrade or a patch proof, guys. Meaning when Oracle upgrades application, it might put back a standard role into the instance. So it's not a standard approach. Then what's the next thing that comes to your mind, guys, to fix this issue? Standard role is giving access to 50 pages. Client needs only 45 pages. We cannot edit the seeded role and take out 5 pages. The second thing that might come to your mind is, okay, let's do it this way, Prasad.
Either copy or the role.
Yeah, copy role is the third one. So you might say second option that you could think about is, it might say,
Great.
yeah,
can you inherit the role?
Yeah, that is also possible. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the second option that might come to your mind is, let's create a role from scratch, right? Prasad, let's not edit the seeded roles. Looks like Oracle is trying to put back a seeded role. So let's create it from scratch. But the point is, if you have to create a role from scratch, it's going to take quite a bit of time, guys, because you have to identify all those 45 pages or privileges. See, I can certainly create a new role from scratch, guys. I can cancel this, and I can certainly create a new role from scratch, and I can call it as Emerson employee, and I can do it this way. But the point is, I can create a new role from scratch in this manner. But the point is, when I go to the next screen, I should build the entire role from scratch, guys. I don't have anything here. It's a blank screen. I should try to identify all those 45 pages, what are the privileges sitting behind them, and I should add all those privileges here one after the other, which is a nightmare, right? So it's quite tedious process. So that is, yes, this is definitely possible. You can create a custom role from scratch altogether, but it is definitely a tedious approach, guys. Then what is it that we should do, Prasad? And one of you already answered it, right? Few of you already answered it. The answer is we should be customizing the seeded role. We will not edit the standard role. We will not create a custom role from scratch and put together all these duty roles in it. It's going to be a nightmare. And instead, what is it that we do? We make a copy of the seeded role. We make a copy of the seeded role. And when you copy it, it would basically be duplicated. It would be cloned. And what would happen if you copy it? It would copy the duty, copy the role, and we can edit that copied role. Copied role will have all these things. So whatever duty roles that this employee role is inheriting, all those roles, all those roles will be copied to that new role. And we just go to that new role and take out only the pages that we don't need, right? So if you try to do a copy role, and what do we see, guys? First of all, when you look at the job, abstract role definition, you see the role name here. And these are all the duty roles that are inherited by the employee role. And when you try to copy it, there are two options you get to see, guys. What are the two options you get to see? Copy top role, meaning copy the employee role, or copy top role and inherited roles. Now, what does it mean, guys? It means that, so let me open the notes as well, copy top role versus inherited roles. So what it basically does is, if there are, this is an employee role, right? You have an employee role, and these are all the duty roles inherited. These are all the duty roles inherited by the employee role. Now, when I say copy top role, then it will copy only the employee role. It will copy only the employee role to Emerson employee, and all the duty roles that you have on the employee role will be added as is. The duty roles will not be duplicated or copied. There will not be additional duty roles created. It will only be the top role that will be copied over, and all the duty roles that the employee role had will be added as is to the employee role, to the copied role. But if you say copy top role and inherited roles, then what would happen is not just the employee role will be copied or duplicated, all the duty roles also will be duplicated, guys. All the inherited roles will also be duplicated. Meaning, even for all the duty roles, for this duty role also, there will be a copy that is created with Emerson underscore. For this also, there will be a duty role created. So this way, if you say copy only the top role, then only the top role will be copied over. All the duty roles will be assigned as is. If you say copy top and inherited roles, not just the top role, even the inherited duty roles also will be copied over, guys. So we usually do a copy top role because we don't want to duplicate all the duty roles, guys. We just want to duplicate the employee role. And from the employee role, I'll just take out the privileges that I don't need. Okay, so that's a difference between copy role and copy top role and copy top role and inherited roles. Do you want to copy or duplicate only this one, or do you want to duplicate this, plus do you want to duplicate all the duty roles? That is the question. So if I say only copy role, copy top role, and I click on copy role, what do you get to see, guys? Are you seeing any pattern here, guys? So this is the employee, and this is a name. This is a name of the role. Okay, this is a name of the role, and this is a role code, guys. And what is it that we are seeing as a, what is the pattern that we are noticing here, guys? HSBC is getting prefixed to the role name, and HSBC is prefixed to the role code as well. Now the question is, when I copy the role, HSBC is getting added as a prefix to the name and code. Where is it coming in from? Well, that is coming in from a security setup itself, guys, again. So I'm opening up a Fusion Cloud instance in a new tab. Remember, guys, when I just type in those 4 characters, I'm just trying to open the instance in a new tab, guys, multiple tabs, so that I can keep these tabs open and I can refer back to it. I'll go back to security again. And in the tools, I see security console. I'll go back in there. Now, in the security console under administration, guys, you will be able to see under administration, you will be able to see roles here. And in the roles, you see that there is an option for you to mention copied role name prefix and copied role code prefix. And what has been mentioned here, guys? What is mentioned as a role name prefix and suffix here? HSBC. And since we have mentioned HSBC as a prefix for a name and a code, the moment I try to copy a role, we see that getting added as a prefix here, right? So you know where that is coming in from. But let's assume that we are doing this implementation for Emerson. So I would be using Emerson as a prefix, and I would be using Emerson underscore, sorry, I want to use Emerson underscore in capital letters as a prefix for a code. And for a role name, I want to use Emerson space. Emerson space is a prefix that I want to add for a role name. And for role code, I want to use Emerson underscore. I go ahead and save this. Shall we give it a try now, guys? I cancel this role copy and I'll try to copy the role again. I'll copy the role again and let's see what you get to see. I'll copy only the top role. What do you see now, guys? The role name is Emerson space employee and a role code is Emerson underscore. So this way, whenever you copy a role, what is it that you want to prefix to the name and a code, you can control it from the administration tab, guys. Now I go to the next screen. The next thing that we need to do is, okay, looks like somebody has already created this role. So what I do is I'll just go ahead and put 1 at the end. I'll just put 1 at the end. That's fine. I'll just go to the next screen. Now, when I go to the next screen, what do we get to see, guys? We would be able to see all the privileges assigned to the, whatever privileges were there on the employee role would have been added to Emerson employee role. Now, from this role, I need to take out the access of those pages, guys. So what are the pages that client confirmed that they don't want to see? Client confirmed that they don't want to see volunteering. They don't want to see web clock or so on. So there are a few pages that client doesn't want their employees to see. To do that, what I need to do is I need to understand what is the privilege. I need to understand what is the privilege sitting behind this page. Because if I know the privilege of behind this page, if I know the privilege of this particular page, and then I can search for that privilege and I can delete it. But how do we know the privilege of a page, guys? How do we know the privilege of a page? That is where if you go to roles and if you search for an employee role, you see something called as a customize simulate navigator, guys. If you click on the menu option, you have something called as a simulate navigator, guys. So you click on simulate navigator. And the moment you click on simulate navigator, guys, what do you get to see? You would be able to see, it would simulate the navigator and it would show you what are the groups. It would show you what are the groups and what are the pages that a user would get to see if you assign employee role. So if you assign employee role to the user, and that is exactly what we did to Prasad here, and what are the groups that Prasad will be able to see, and what are the pages that he would be able to see in those groups is controlled from here. Or you can view that information here. So under the me section, you see personal information. There is no lock. There is no lock or no warning. And even for payslips, there is no lock or warning. For time and absence, no lock or warning. So what does it mean? It means that under me section, Prasad will be able to see personal information. He would be able to see payslips. He would be able to see time and absence, career and performance. So he is able to see all this information, personal information, payslips, time and absence, and so on. And for some of the pages, you see something like directory, meaning a reporting directory here. So for this page, you see a warning, guys. What does it mean, guys? What does a warning mean? Warning means this page is available to Prasad under a me section. but he will not see it by default. He will not see it by default. Tell me one thing, guys. Can you see directory here? After personal information, what are we seeing? Is we are seeing connections, right? But we are not seeing directory there. Does it mean that Prasad cannot see the directory? That is not the case, guys. So when you log in as a user, when you go to any specific group, guys, there will be few pages that would be enabled by default. But please note that this is not the complete list of pages. Please note that not only these 17 pages are visible to Prasad under me, there could be few more pages available as well. To see those pages, I need to personalize a springboard. I can click on personalize springboard. And when I do that, I go into me section, guys, I can see directory here. But is it enabled, guys? Yes or no? Is it enabled?
No.
So if for such pages, you will see a warning message there. So if you see a warning message, what does it mean, guys? It means that that page is available under the group, but it will not be enabled by default like a personal information or a payslip. If you want, you can click on a plus icon and you can enable that. So the moment I tick that box directly, you will start seeing that additional page. Now you're seeing 18 pages here. So if you see a page with warning, that's what it exactly means. Meaning the page will be there, but it will not be enabled by default. So to see that page, you need to go ahead and tick that box. Now, why did we come into this particular page, guys, in first place? We want to take out this volunteering page. Employees of Emerson should not see this. To do that, what I need to do, I go into me section and I see that there is a volunteering page here. And for this particular page, I can click on the page name. And when I click on a page name, what do I get to see, guys? There are two things that I get to see. I can see view roles that grant access. See, employee role will give access to volunteering screen. But apart from employee role, there are also other roles that give access to volunteering screen, guys. Not just a employee role, guys. There are other roles in the application. If you assign these roles to the user, then also user will be able to see volunteering option under a me section. But this is not what we are interested in. So if you want to understand what other roles grant access to the same page, you can do that. Roles that grant access. But I'm more interested in identifying what is the privilege sitting behind that menu option. So I click on a view privileges required for a navigator option, and I can see the privilege name here. The moment you see the privilege name manage volunteering, I understand the privilege name. I can just search for it and I'll have to take out that privilege name, search for that privilege name, delete it. Because HR of Emerson should not see this. HR of Emerson should not see this. So you take out that privilege. Similarly, if your client doesn't want any additional pages, you can take it off. It is not only about removing the pages, guys. If your client wants any additional pages to be added, that is also possible, guys. Remember, as an example, I'm just taking a volunteering page, but if you want to add additional pages, you can do that as well. You can add the privileges also. And this way, you go ahead and make whatever changes that your client wants here in the privileges, take out pages or add additional pages. And when you go to the next screen, you see a data security policies here, guys. Remember, there are a lot of pages that user has got access to, right? There are a lot of pages that user has got access to. And in these pages, there would be a lot of data that they should be seeing. And that data would be coming in through these data security policies. So for example, if they have to see territories or if they have to see the person details and so on, right? So that data is controlled through these security policies. Now I go to the next screen. I'm not going to change anything in the data security policies. Now, what do we see here, guys? You see that these are all the duty roles that employee role inherited. And since I said only copy the copy only the top role, all the duty roles were not copied, guys. Instead, they were not copied in the sense they are not duplicated. You don't see Emerson. You don't see Emerson names here for all the roles that are inherited, for all the inherited roles. Instead, inherited roles were copied, were added as is in the Emerson employee role. It's only the top role that is copied. because we have chosen an option to copy the top role. If I had said copy top and inherited roles, all these inherited roles also would have been duplicated like this. Like you would have seen an Emerson version for all these roles as well. Go to the next screen, and I don't need to do anything in this. And from here itself, I do have an option from the role creation itself. I have an option to add it to the users. I can search for Prasad here. And to this particular user, I'm going to assign this particular Emerson employee role. Go to the next screen. You will see a summary of what exactly you have changed in the seeded role. It's just that I've taken out one privilege or one page, and I've assigned it to one user. Submit it. Now there would be a request submitted in the background to create that copy role, and you would be able to see a request ID here 232321. Looks like we've got a fancy number there. And I need to check the status of this number in the administration tab 232321, right? So I go to administration tab, and in the administration tab, when I click on role status here, I'll be able to see what is the status of that particular role. Role copy. Is the copy done, or is it still happening in the background is what we can see here. So what do we see, guys? We see that it is in a processing status. We see that it is in a processing status, guys. Now, it could take up to 2 or 3 minutes for this role copy to complete. And once this is complete, what would happen, guys? You would go to the user, guys, and you will be assigning to the user. If you see, remember, I already assigned a custom employee role, guys. Emerson employee role I have assigned. So what do we do? Since we have customized the employee role as per the client requirement, to the users of Emerson, we will only be assigning this role, guys. We'll not be using a seeded role anymore. So I would edit the user profile. I'll take out that seeded role. See, this role gives access to 50 pages, but this role gives access to 49 pages now because I've taken out volunteering. So I'll take out the standard page and I will assign only the custom page now. Now, if I go to administration and let's wait for this job to complete. And once this particular job is complete, what would happen, guys? If you sign out and sign in back as Prasad, you will not be able to see the volunteering page because that's a customization that we have done. So yes, the seeded roles given by Oracle can be customized, guys. Seeded roles given by Oracle can be customized. And when we customize it, we can choose whether to customize only the top role or the top and inherited roles. Okay. And any questions, guys, while we are waiting for this request to complete?
So when do you use the other option, copy inherited roles?
We see there are very limited duty roles assigned to a job role. And if there was a requirement to do some changes in those inherited roles also, meaning within the duty role also, if I have to make some changes, apart from changing the job role, in such cases, we say copy top and inherited roles.
Okay.
But since I want to make change only in the top role, not in the inherited roles, I'll stick to copy top role. And this is what you do, not 99, 100 out of 100 cases. But just in case you want to change even the inherited roles also, maybe edit their definition, then you use this option. Any other questions, guys, from anyone? And did all of you receive the onboarding email, guys? So what I would do is tomorrow morning, guys, when in the first 10 minutes, I'll tell you how exactly you need to use the onboarding email. And the key part is, yes, how exactly you should be using this Google Drive sheet to access the Fusion Cloud application links. I'll be explaining it in detail in tomorrow's session, guys. Let's wait for this job to complete. Okay, we see that it is complete now. I'll try to sign out of the application. I'll open a private window. Not sure if the change is already synced, but if it is already synced, what is it that you get to see, guys? You get to see, okay. I think the changes are yet to be synced here. Well, you should be able to see. I think the changes are still taking place in the background. You check it after a couple of after maybe a 10-15 minutes, guys. I think the security changes are getting synced in the background. You should be able to see. You should be able to see only the. You should be able to see that me section here, guys. You can check it after 10 minutes. And in that particular me section, you would not be able to see the volunteering page, but you should be able to see all other pages, guys. Looks like the change that we have done in the me section, right? It's getting processed in the background. Let me see if I can try to log in from another browser here. Go ahead and sign into it. Okay, we can verify this tomorrow morning, guys. Tomorrow morning when we log in, the first thing that we do is we'll verify this. Sometimes it takes a bit of change. There is a ideally in a recent versions of Fusion application, guys, we don't have to run a synchronization job. Ideally, the changes should get synced in the background automatically. But tomorrow I'll talk about what is the job that you can run in case you don't see the changes getting synced effectively. I'll talk about what the job is, and I'll also talk about how to schedule it as well in tomorrow's session. Okay. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.